4,000 British soldiers lay siege to Washington, D.C. and set fire to the U.S. Capitol and the White House.
Together and maintain unity.
Napoleonic France, and in order to fight this war, they need manpower for the Royal Navy. So they're stopping American ships on the high seas and forcing Americans to serve in the Navy.
On August 24th, General Windsor gathered some untrained, inexperienced troops and decided to stand grounds and try to protect Washington. 10 miles away from the White House, there they would battle against veteran troops under Major General Robert Ross, the commander of the land-based invasion force of Britain. And under General Ross's orders, his troops advanced toward the first of 3 American lines. They would quickly ambush the defenders and force them to retreat.
Most of the British soldiers under Ross are veterans of the Peninsula War. They've been up against some of the best troops in the world, the French. And they're just amazed, however, at how slight the resistance is from the Americans. They expected more from Yankee Doodle.
As they proceeded to the second line, where the Americans had the most artillery, they would face a number of cannons, but would advance with ease. The third line would undergo heavy fire for hours, but would fall to the British troops. General Winder would order his troops to retreat, and the retreat turned a panic race back to Washington. They called it the Bradensburg Race. After a few hours, nothing stands in the way of the British troops as they advance to Washington less than 18 hours later.
President Madison realizes that the end is near and decides to flee the scene. Hours after the battle in Bladensburg, the crowded White House becomes a ghost town as politicians, leaders, and government officials leave the city. The First Lady, Miss Dolly Madison, will stay back and risk her life to collect a couple of items, one of them being a national treasure, a portrait of our first president, George Washington, by Gilbert Stuart. Dolly Madison.
This woman is not only courageous and heroic, risking her life to save things for posterity.
Picture of General Washington is taken, so I have ordered the frame to be broken and the painting taken out. It is done.
This is the great full-length portrait of George Washington by Gilbert Stuart. This is the one that Dolly Madison rather famously staged.
Dolly Madison would be among the last to evacuate the city.
By 8 p.m., General Ross and his 4,000 troops will enter Washington, the nation's capital, preparing to set fire to Washington's government building. They will go into the dining room where they will begin to feast. The general orders wine and in a sarcastic toast to the president, and the soldiers rampage through the rooms grabbing souvenirs on the way, including a ceremonial sword. They will walk outside the White House and throw torches through the windows of the mansion, putting the White House in flames. The next
And the burn marks on the White House walls are still there.
We now have evidence of the char marks, the scorching that would have happened when flames were drawn out through open windows and doors and licked up around the tops of the stone.
William Allman is the White House curator.
You know I have to ask, if these walls could talk, what would they say? You know what I think they'd say? Ouch.